Hi, I'm Van, and this is my final synthesis project. Contracts are everywhere in the world, today especially in sports. Every season we hear about players signing massive deals, negotiating extensions, or being traded. Teams and athletes have to follow the exact same terms of their contracts. It's all about business, all legal, all based on performance and expectations. But while contracts are common and practical, something about them can feel incomplete. And that made me think, why might someone be unhappy with a contract but happy with the covenant? That question stood out to me during Journal 11 because it made me reflect on what contracts and covenants actually mean to me personally. A covenant, unlike a contract, is more than a deal. It is a special bond of trust, commitment, and faithfulness between us and God. It's not just an exchange of terms, it's a relationship. One of the clearest examples of a covenant is the one between Noah and God. The story of Noah is powerful. Humanity had fallen into wickedness, violence, and corruption. God was deeply grieved by how far people had turned away from his goodness. So he chose to cleanse the earth with a flood. But he spared Noah, who was righteous, along with Noah's family and the animals in the ark. After the flood, God made a covenant with Noah. He promised never again to destroy the earth with a flood. The rainbow became the sign of that covenant, a symbol of God's mercy and commitment. A contract could never express something so sacred or lasting. The Noah covenant shows us that God chooses relationship over punishment, even when humanity fails. Another major covenant, maybe the most important one, is God's covenant with humanity, sometimes called the New Covenant. This covenant reminds us that even when we fail to reach out to God, God still reaches out to us. A great representation of this is Michelangelo's famous painting, The Creation of Adam. In the painting, God is stretching his hand fully toward Adam. His arm is extended, his body leaning forward, his entire being reaching in love and desire for connection. But Adam's hand is relaxed. His finger barely reaches back. It's almost like he's not trying. To me, this is a powerful representation of the covenant. God always trying his hardest to stay connected to us, even when we don't try as hard as in return. These two covenants, Noah's covenant and the New Covenant, really speak to me because in different moments of my life, I see myself in both stories. Sometimes, like Noah, I feel faithful and close to God, trying to live the right way. But other times I feel like Adam, distant, distracted, not reaching back as strongly as God reaches out to me. Whenever I feel like I'm slipping away or things aren't going right, I remind myself of the New Covenant, that God will never abandon us. But this all leads to a big question. If covenants are so deep and meaningful, then what exactly is a contract? And how does a contract differ from a covenant? Let's look at the world of sports again. Let's take Luka Doncic, for example. He signed a contract with the Dallas Mavericks, a team he beloved and was beloved with, and he wanted to stay with them. But even though he loved the place, the contract still allowed the team to trade him without his control, because that's what contracts are. Contracts are conditional agreements based on performance, money, and rules. There's no trust or faith built into the system. Everything can change if one side wants it to. Contracts will say, I will do this if you do that. If one side fails, that agreement ends. But covenants say, I am committed to you no matter what. A covenant isn't about convenience, it's about loyalty, dedication, and trust. Contracts are temporary, covenants are lasting. Contracts are legal, covenants are personal and spiritual. Contracts require signatures, covenants require hearts. And that is why covenants are far more sacred than contracts, because a contract is only as strong as the terms written on the paper, but a covenant is as strong as the love, trust, and faith that holds it together. Thank you.